Before we look at corporate-level strategy, we need to briefly clarify the levels of strategy. Most organizations operate on 3 levels: corporate strategy, business unit strategy, and regional or international strategy. Corporate-level strategy sits at the highest level. It defines the organization's overall scope, its growth logic, and the portfolio of businesses. It answers different questions than competitive strategy at the business unit level. Corporate-level strategy focuses on fundamental, long-term decisions that affect the organization as a whole. These decisions include which businesses to be in, how broad or narrow the scope should be, how businesses are related, and how the corporate center adds value. At this level, the corporate center acts as a portfolio and synergy manager. Its role is to allocate resources across businesses, coordinate activities where it creates value, and enable synergies that individual units could not achieve on their own. However, the corporate center can also destroy value. If it adds complexity without benefits, forces artificial synergies, or misallocates capital, the group structure becomes a disadvantage. The core question of corporate-level strategy is therefore, is the whole organization worth more than the sum of its parts? A central element of corporate-level strategy is how the organization grows. 3 broad growth options are typically considered: organic growth, based on internal development and capability building; mergers and acquisitions, used to accelerate growth, gain capabilities, or reshape the business portfolio; strategic alliances, which allow cooperation and access to resources without full ownership or full integration. Each option involves trade-offs between speed and control, risk and integration effort, learning and ownership. There is no universally superior option. The right choice depends on context. Growth is not only about how a firm grows, but also where growth comes from. At a high level, this logic is captured by product-market strategies, often illustrated by the Ansoff matrix. Ansoff distinguishes between growth through existing products in existing markets, existing products in new markets, new products in existing markets, and new products in new markets. Ansoff does not define competitive advantage. It provides a directional growth logic, which we will explore in more detail in a dedicated video. Corporate-level strategy also includes decisions about diversification. Diversification addresses whether the organization should expand into new products, markets, or industries. This can involve related diversification or unrelated diversification. Another important decision concerns vertical integration. Vertical integration defines how far the organization extends upstream toward suppliers or downstream toward customers. These decisions affect control, flexibility, cost structure, and exposure to risk. Corporate-level strategy requires a portfolio perspective. This means balancing mature and growth businesses, allocating capital and attention, and managing risk across the portfolio. The corporate center must justify its existence by adding value. It may do so by allocating resources more effectively, building shared capabilities, enabling coordination and learning, or shaping the portfolio over time. If it fails to do so, the portfolio becomes a source of complexity rather than advantage. Many corporate-level decisions also involve international strategy. International strategy addresses geographic scope, market selection, and coordination across countries. Internationalization increases opportunity, complexity, and risk at the same time. Because of its importance, international strategy deserves its own dedicated discussion, which we will address in a separate video. Within the strategy process, corporate-level strategy plays a clear role. It defines scope and growth logic, constrains business unit strategies, and shapes long-term investment priorities. Corporate-level choices must be consistent with the strategic position, competitive strategies, business models, and the organization's overall direction. They expand the strategic option space, but do not yet determine final choices. Let's summarize. Corporate-level strategy focuses on growth logic, scope decisions, portfolio coherence, and the role of the corporate center. It includes decisions about organic growth, mergers and acquisitions, strategic alliances, diversification, vertical integration, and international presence. In the next videos, we will build on this foundation by exploring product market strategies in more detail, international strategy, and mergers, acquisitions, and strategic alliances. Only after the full strategic option space is understood will we move to evaluating and selecting strategy. If you want to understand strategy step by step, this series is designed for you.